Hey pals, John here with the Lens Power, and today we have a special guest here in the office. This is Orlando food photographer Juan, and we're going to do some food product photography. All right, Juan, thanks for coming in and getting creative with us today. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started in food photography?
All right, so mainly I was a portrait photographer, then switched over. I really fell in love with food because I cook a lot, I'm in the kitchen, and I've always kind of worked in the kitchen, and the beauty of the food really just always captured me. Every time I'm in the kitchen, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that would look really good on camera. So I just started playing around, started shooting food, and I got hooked, and we're here now, so.
Awesome. All right, Juan, why don't you talk us through a little bit about what it is you're gonna show us today?
All right, so basically we're doing some food photography, obviously, and we got these cookies right here. The cookies are the talent, and we have a 5-foot octabox that we're using for lighting over here, for ProPhoto B1 over here. We're only using one light. This is really, really simple, guys. If anyone wants to get into food photography, if anybody's ever thought about food photography, this is a really key, easy setup. So we have a 5-foot octabox to my right-hand side, and this is gonna be right on the side of my subject here and to the back a little bit. So it's kind of coming from the back corner, so my back right corner, just one light coming directly into the subject. And if we're gonna start there, if we wanna add any fill into this, we're just gonna simply add some white foam core to fill it in. But I'm going for a little bit of a dramatic look here, so I think we're gonna stick without diffusion. I'm gonna do a top-down shot. These shots are really popular these days. If you go on Instagram, if you go on any really food website, you're gonna see these top-down shots. Very popular today, and that's basically what we got going on here. We're shooting on the new Canon 90D. I love this camera. It's probably my favorite crop sensor out in general right now. It does a lot, and we have the ProPhoto trigger here. We're using Canon 50mm L lens right here. It does not have to be an L lens. And then we're gonna get some tasty macro shots, some really punched in close shots with the 100mm macro, and that's basically it. So we've got the 5-foot octabox with the ProPhoto B1, we've got the ProPhoto trigger, we have the Canon 90D with the 50mm, and that's basically it.
All right, let's get to it.
All right, so basically we're set up here. I have my talent here. We're all set up. I have the composition that I want. I'm gonna be shooting from up top, top down. And don't try this at home. We have a secure stage, a little stage back here that I can stand on. And we have my buddy here that in case anything happens, he's gonna be right here. So we have the talent in the shot. Now we're doing a top down shot and we want everything in focus. So I'm shooting at f8. ISO 200, shutter speed of 1/160th, so I have control mainly with the light that's going on here. So we're gonna get a top-down shot. We have, this is looking very good, f8, ISO 200, shutter 1/160th. Let's see what this looks like. And that is already looking really good. Oh, sorry about that.
It's all good.
In camera, I wanna see a little bit more of this milk coming in right here. And we have 3, 2, and action.
So I noticed you moved the milk just a little bit. How many photos do you take in order to get, I don't want to say the perfect composition, but one that you're like happy with?
Okay, so technically I try to set it up before anything even happens.
Yeah.
I have a little mood board here, as you see, and I kind of have an idea already of what I'm going to be shooting. So I like to prepare before the shoot, and I like to really have the composition. It's almost like a mood board for film and stuff like that. So I know what I'm shooting already. Once I kind of already know, I set all the props and the talent in there, and I shoot. But basically this is a really basic, simple setup here. We have one light. Top-down shots are fairly easy. You just have everything right here. You don't have to really worry about a background and the surroundings and stuff like that. You just have this one surface.
Yeah.
Super easy, super clean, always looks good.
Fantastic. I love that you're shooting at f8. I think there's a lot of focus these days on your wide open apertures, your 1.4s, your 1.2s, and I think shooting, like getting that depth of field that you need to make sure everything is in focus, I think is something that a lot of photographers forget that you can do. So to see you doing that, it actually puts a little smile on my face.
Of course, of course. Yeah, F8, like I said, if you're coming from top down, you want everything in focus. You want to see all the aspects from the top to the actual very surface of this. You know, a lot of people like to go crazy with their aperture sometimes and go for that shallow depth of field all the time, and it's really not necessary sometimes.
Right.
You really, it depends on what you're shooting. It depends on what your goal is, but really, this is going to have a tack sharp focus on the subject, what you're selling, what you're trying to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you need a volunteer to take a bite out of a cookie?
You know what? I think I do. You know what? I think you're going to be the one.
Okay.
So we're going to have this guy
hopefully
smash into the talent, and then we're going to put it back because that's what this composition calls for here.
I'm going to go for a multiple chocolate chip.
Yeah, and it needs to be a good bite, so we might have to redo this like several times.
The problem is that these are small cookies, and if I take a good bite, it's just gone. So
it's over. All right. So basically, oh, that's good enough. Oh, nice. So he's, all right, first try. No more cookies for you. All right, so basically what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna clear the space. We clear the space and we start from scratch when we're doing a new composition. Just like with lighting, how I like to light things and how I like to set things up, you start with either one thing and then you build from there. So we're gonna have this cutting board shot. This is going to be right here. We're going to grab maybe this milk right here. Of course, we'll go there. And then I like the cookie jar. You know what? No, we're gonna do these bad boys. Yes, and it's always fun. Like I said, it's just fun working with food. It's not regular photography where things are so serious. This is just for me playing with my food. Except I'm taking pictures of it now. So I'm just playing with my food. This is fun, and you always want to have fun when you're shooting. It doesn't have to be always so serious. People sometimes take shoots a little bit too seriously, I've seen, and this is about having fun here at the end of the day. Because photography is fun. It's a creative thing. We're using our minds to make stuff happen, and I think people forget that. So remember to have fun with photography always, guys. Have fun with it, and you're gonna get better the more fun that you have, because the more fun that you have, the more you're going to want to do it. The more you do it, the more experience you get, right?
The better you get at it, the more fun you have doing it, and
Exactly. All right, so we're almost done with our composition here. I feel all I need maybe is a couple of these guys here, right? So we'll go something like this, and I want to come in and maybe kind of deal with that too. And I actually like to sometimes get it a little bit dirty, a little bit messy here. We might, have some crumbs coming in. And we can create leading lines also with the actual product. So maybe the eye will go from here into the actual photo. So we always want to use leading lines as well, not only in your normal photography, but in your food photography. You want to lead those eyes and the people into that subject that you're trying to promote, sell, or really push to the forefront. All right, and then we're going to see what that looks like. If we need to adjust it, we will. We're going to stick with the 50mm still. And guys, this is one big thing. With food photography, I love using the 50mm. Why? Because it doesn't distort my image, right? So if we're using a wide, some people like to use a 24mm or a wider angle lens, and I understand that whenever you're limited with space, right? So a lot of people don't have a huge studio to shoot in. Sometimes they're limited, which makes them opt for that 24mm lens. But I don't like any distortion in my stuff, so we're gonna stick with the 50, just like the real eye sees, and I'd rather climb up on a tree or something like this and really not have to mess with that distortion. Can we bring this fill light in here? So now guys, we're gonna fill in the photo here just to get these shadows filled in. Right there is perfect. And this is just gonna create some fill light for the shadows over here. It's not gonna be so dramatic and dark. It's not gonna be so shadowy. All right, so now we got some fill going on right there, and that's just gonna fill it in a little bit here. We got 3, 2, and beautiful. Oh yeah, and you can definitely tell on the fill here that we're getting. I'm actually gonna stop up one. I'm gonna go F9 here because I want a little, that's a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go 3, 2, and that's lovely. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And that's gonna be our second composition. And I think we're good with that right there.
Awesome. All right, so where can people find out more about you?
Well, I have an Instagram account. It's gonna be Orlando Food Photographer. If you guys like food, if you wanna see what I got going on, Instagram, Orlando Food Photographer. Send me a DM if you have any questions about food photography. And also, we're at the Lens Pal, where they've helped me a lot on my journey with photography in general. So if you guys mention that you see this video and you're a fan, come and order something and you'll get 10% off your order. So mention this video, that you saw this video, mention the Lens Pal whenever you order and come in and you'll get 10% off.
Yeah, we're not putting that out anywhere else, so you have to watch this video in order to get that code. So if you've watched this far, make sure you use that 10% off code. Otherwise, you know, well, we appreciate you anyway, even if you don't use it. Thanks for coming in. Let's
yeah, COVID, mask. So
yeah.
thanks, appreciate you guys.
No worries. Until next time, we'll see you soon.